right now here in the studio with me is Amir Oren, Defense and Government Analyst for Arts Daily newspaper. Good evening. Good evening. And also Dr. Ghassan Abdullah. Good evening. Thank you very much
Good evening.
for coming. Dr. Ghassan Abdullah, I will start with you. What is, from your perspective, the current situation in the West Bank concerning this wave of attacks, this wave of terror that just refuses to stop?
Yeah, before the wave of attacks, I think there is a wave of inciting against the Palestinians and against the Arabs in Jerusalem in particular. And unfortunately, this incitement is coming from formal bodies in the government. It was so surprising to see the Prime Minister inciting against the Arabs in Jerusalem, and we noticed this during the elections, and we noticed it later. And also it was amazing to see the mayor of Jerusalem carrying his weapon and go to the streets. So the incitement against the Palestinians is a main reason. And the second, if you allow me,
yes,
just to continue, I think the ongoing violations and harassments, and he knows better than me the different types of harassments and violations against civilians in East Jerusalem and in Nablus, Tulkarem, and Jenin. You know, the Palestinians, we are one extended family. So if there is a family in East Jerusalem suffers, they have their relatives in Jenin who sympathize with them and who do not take it easily.
I just want to understand, Dr. Ghassan Abdullah. I let you finish, and you just finished your letter, but we are talking about not only an incitement coming from the Israeli side, there is an incitement that also comes from the Palestinian side. I don't want to start showing all the caricatures and videos that are actually calling and telling people how to kill Jews, telling people how to kill Jews, how to take the knife and just stab a person because he's Jewish. So an incitement doesn't come only from one side. The incitement also comes from the Palestinian side. This we cannot ignore. This is something that we cannot just say it's just not happening because everybody's living happily ever after.
I agree with you. It's not a matter of incitement from both sides. I think it is the matter of the absence of investing in the role of education, either formal education or informal education, to put the people together. Both sides are ignoring the importance of education, and they are not investing in this at all, unfortunately. So we, the Palestinians and the Israelis, should pay more attention to the important role that education may do in this era and in this area in particular.
Well, education, of course, is important, but it's a long-term project, 12 years of school. And what we have now is a crisis which refuses to go away. And this is perhaps a popular uprising in the truest sense of the word popular. It comes from the population. Yes. This is probably not because of any leadership calling on people to perform.
We're talking in one way or another about people.
We're talking about people and about the lack of leadership on either
Both
side.
Sides. Yes.
And the Israeli government, for all of its vaunted security services, the military, the police, is powerless to stop these attacks. What we saw today was that in perhaps the two most typical towns or cities in Israel, Rishon LeZion and Netanya, middle class or lower middle class neighborhoods, people fear that they are not safe anywhere. And therefore they are frustrated. They, when they find the perpetrator amongst them, they try to lynch him. But they are also going to vent their anger at their own government.
You know, I think that also the Palestinian side doesn't understand how complicated the situation here is for Israeli Arabs who are living in Israel. Because, you know, what I'm saying all the time, that after this wave of attacks will fade, will go away, if there will be some kind of a peace process, if both sides will stay silent, at the end of the day, the people who are eating the dessert that the Palestinians left here, eating the dessert not in a good way are the Israeli Arabs, because the Palestinians are going back to their places, the Palestinians are going back to their cities, and the Israeli Arabs are being imaged as terrorists, and the Israeli Arabs are being blamed for what the Palestinians, the youth, is doing inside Israel. So at the end of the day, me as an Israeli Arab being blamed for what the 13-year-old came and did on the streets of Israel.
Well, Lucy, thank you. You asked the question and you responded to the question.
No, I'm just...
We, the Palestinians in the occupied West Bank and Gaza, we do not interfere in the affairs of the Arabs in Israel. We do not at all.
This is not entirely correct, because you always try to combine the Israeli Arabs, and when it's very comfortable. When it's comfortable, we combine the Israeli Arabs into the discussion. When it's not comfortable, we are not intervening with what is happening to the Israeli Arabs.
I assure you that we have no tendency at all or any policy to interfere with the Arab affairs in Israel. It's their life, but don't forget, and I assume that you are coming from that sector, don't forget that Arabs in Israel are suffering like the Palestinians in the West Bank and in Jerusalem.
Different meaning.
In different meanings and different forms.
In a different meaning.
Exactly.
We are not suffering on the same level.
We are not.
You cannot compare. You cannot compare the suffering. We are not
allow me to ask this question.
the same level.
What about the percentage of unemployment?
We are not living under occupation. You are living under occupation. You are living in refugee camps. These two situations are completely different.
And the Arabs in Israel are living in under unemployment status. How many hospitals in the Arab villages?
Like the Orthodox community, the Jewish Orthodox community, like the Ethiopian community in Israel, like a lot of other minority communities. What I am saying, that the actions of the Palestinians at the end of the day are affecting also the Israeli Arabs. At the end of the day, when the Palestinians are going back to their houses, when they will get the education, when they will be in Jenin and Ramallah, when this peace process will finally be over, I am the one who stays with the bad reputation that you're leaving here.
You may misunderstand what I meant. These are our brothers, and we'll never give up backing our brothers. These are our partners in the future destiny of the Palestinians in this territory. And at the same time, we do not tell them, we don't instruct them what to do and what not to do. Look what happened during the day of the land. Do you
really believe that the people, the Israeli Arabs who are living here, eventually will move to the Palestinian state when it will come?
No, they will not. We don't want them to leave their homes and to leave their lands. We don't want.
But we are staying with the bad reputation.
May I interfere in internal Arab affair?
Yes.
No, that's fine.
I'm sorry.
It's just that we are almost out of time. First of all, two of the terrorists were Israeli Arabs, the Bedouin from the Negev, and one from Fahim.
From Khura, yes.
One from Khura and one from Fahim in the Gan Shmuel drive-by vehicular attack. However, it doesn't really matter how it started, and we saw today that the murderers of the Hankin family said that they did it because of the Dawabshe killing. So there is a cycle here of terror and then another terror and so on. What is happening, if you try to look at it strategically, is that the Palestinians are winning this round, because this is not being acted on the stage of Rishon LeZion or Netanya. It's being acted here in the studio and wherever people around the world and in Israel are watching us. And it means that even though the world is preoccupied with what is happening in Syria and Iraq and migrants and a plane crash, there is still a footnote. People are saying, you have to remember that we are still fighting here. So eventually the world is going to take care of this conflict too, and this will be due or thanks, everybody can look at it either way, to these people with knives.
I suggest that you will get into the peace negotiation between the Palestinians and the Israelis. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. And we are going out for a break, 2-minute break, and I'll be back for the second part of the news today. Don't go anywhere.